Welcome to Tales with Meaning, where every story holds a lesson that can change our lives. Tonight, we embark on a journey that will make you question the very nature of happiness. What would you do if everything you ever wanted suddenly appeared within your reach? Would you seize it, or would you hold back, fearing it might slip through your fingers? In this gripping tale, we meet a man who had everything, yet felt nothing until he discovered a secret hidden in plain sight. Stay with us as we unravel a story of suspense, choices, and the surprising truth about where true peace comes from. Vijay Desai had always been a man of ambition. Born into a modest family in a small village in India, he spent his early years dreaming of a life far removed from the dusty roads and simple living that surrounded him. Determined to rise above his circumstances, he worked tirelessly through school, eventually earning a scholarship to study engineering in a prestigious college in the city. Vijay's life was a steady climb: graduation, a well-paying job, a luxurious apartment, and finally, a promotion that made him the youngest project manager in his company. On the surface, it seemed like Vijay had it all. But deep down, he felt a gnawing emptiness that no amount of success could fill. His parents, whom he had left behind in the village, were proud of his achievements, but they noticed the change in him whenever he visited. The laughter that once lit up his face had been replaced by a cold, distant look. Conversations that used to flow easily now felt forced and brief. Despite his material wealth, Vijay was restless. One day, while working late at the office, Vijay received a call that would change his life. His father had suffered a stroke. Vijay rushed back to the village, where the reality of his father's fragile condition hit him harder than he could have imagined. For weeks, he stayed by his father's side, watching the strong man he once knew struggle to regain his speech and movement. It was during this time that Vijay's life took an unexpected turn. His father, weak but determined, asked him for a small favor. He wanted to visit the old farm that had been in their family for generations. The farm was a place that Vijay had long since left behind, dismissing it as part of a past that no longer fit into his vision of success. Reluctantly, Vijay agreed. As they walked through the fields, the scent of the earth and the sound of the rustling leaves stirred something deep within Vijay. His father, though frail, seemed more alive here than he had been in months. They sat under a large banyan tree, where his father began to speak, his voice trembling but clear. "Vijay," his father began, "I've watched you chase success all your life. I am proud of what you've accomplished, but I'm worrying that you've lost sight of what truly matters. This farm, these fields, they taught me the value of contentment. There's a peace here that no amount of money or status can buy." Vijay listened, but the words didn't quite sink in. Contentment, he thought, was just a way to justify mediocrity. But as the days passed and he spent more time on the farm, something began to change. The simplicity of life in the village, the unhurried pace, the connection with the land, it all started to soothe his restless mind. One evening, as Vijay was about to return to the city, his father handed him an old wooden box. Inside were a few coins, a worn-out diary, and a letter addressed to him. The letter was from his grandfather, a man Vijay barely remembered. In it, his grandfather wrote about the hardships he had faced during his lifetime, the struggles to keep the farm going, and the joy he found in the simplest of things like watching the sunrise or hearing the laughter of children playing in the fields. He knew contentment, his father said softly. He found peace, not by chasing more, but by appreciating what he already had. That night, Vijay couldn't sleep. His mind was racing with memories of his childhood, the time spent on the farm, the laughter of his parents, and the sense of belonging he hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long while, he wondered if his pursuit of success had cost him more than it had given him. The next morning, Vijay made a decision. He informed his company that he would be taking an indefinite leave of absence. His colleagues were shocked. Vijay was the last person anyone expected to step away from the fast track. But for Vijay, the choice was clear. He needed time to reconnect with the life he had left behind, to rediscover the contentment that had eluded him for so long. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Vijay's father slowly regained his strength, and together they worked on the farm, tending to the crops, fixing up the old house, and sharing long conversations under the banyan tree. The work was hard, but it was fulfilling in a way that Vijay hadn't experienced in years. The pressure and anxiety that had once dominated his life began to fade, replaced by a quiet, enduring peace. As the seasons changed, so did Vijay. He no longer felt the need to constantly strive for more. He learned to appreciate the small moments, sharing a meal with his parents, watching the sunset over the fields, feeling the warmth of the sun on his skin. He realized that true peace came not from acquiring more, but from being content with what you have. One evening, as Vijay and his father sat by the fire, his father spoke again. "You see, Vijay, contentment doesn't mean you stop dreaming or working hard. It means you find joy in the journey, not just the destination. Peace isn't something you achieve once you've checked off all your goals. It's something you cultivate every day, by being grateful for the present moment." Vijay smiled, understanding now what his father had been trying to teach him all along. The drive to succeed had brought him far, but it was contentment that finally brought him peace. End paragraph. Thank you for joining us on this journey with Tales with Meaning. Vijay's story reminds us that while ambition can lead us to great heights, it is contentment that truly grounds us. In a world that constantly urges us to want more, it's easy to forget that the foundation of lasting peace lies not in what we achieve, but in how we appreciate what we already have. So, as you go through life, remember to pause, breathe, and find joy in the simple things. That is where true contentment and true peace reside. Thank you for listening, and until next time, may you find your own peace in the present moment.